So guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. A really dull Friday afternoon. It's so dull out there. You know, this weather makes me depressed. The weather's so bad. I hope you guys are keeping well, keeping safe. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's start talking some boxing. I just saw an interview with Kell Brook, and I had to make a video. There were so many things in there that I want to talk about, that I wanted to know, and I wanted to know from Kell Brook's mouth. And I feel for him. And I've heard the story about Dominic Ingle. He cleared that up and said that obviously it was a travel thing. He said I had to train in Fuerteventura, and Dominic had he had other boxers that obviously he has to take care of, and Dominic didn't want to travel because of restrictions. He said basically the same thing as Dominic said. Dominic Ingle said, but I'm not buying it. I think there was a little bit more than that, if I'm honest with you. I don't agree that I think it was down to something else, but I don't want to speculate. If he's saying that's what it was, it's not really that I care, to be honest, why he split up. Obviously, the fact that I think Dominic Ingle being with Kell Brook, in my opinion, a trainer that knows him, that I think that knows when's the right time to motivate Kell Brook, when the right time to push him. He knows when he's in distress. He knows what he needs to say. He knows when he needs to stop a fight if things are getting ugly. And like I've said before, this fight, things could get ugly. And I just think he would have been the right man for the job. Now, having somebody that doesn't know you as well in a fight like this could be disaster. Now, I don't know. He did mention, I can't remember, he did mention someone. People pointed out to me that Ryan Rhodes and Adam Etches are going to be in his corner. I don't know if it's definitely them. That's what I've heard, a rumor that I've heard. I don't know if it's true. Maybe they might be part of the team, a trainer, maybe somebody else. Will it make a difference? Who knows? We'll see on fight night. And he said other things about Eddie Hearn. The fact that Eddie feels that Eddie Hearn has kind of sold him out, and feels that Eddie Hearn's betrayed him. And guys, I made a video about this before, that I feel that fighters should always... And one thing I want to back Eddie Hearn on this is the fact that when Kell Brook came to Eddie Hearn, Kell Brook had nothing. And Eddie Hearn's made Kell Brook a millionaire. So, yes, I get that Eddie Hearn's kind of thrown him away at this moment, and they're not backing the fight. Sky Sports aren't backing the fight. I get it. But at the end of the day, you've got to appreciate someone that's made you a millionaire as well. Yes, of course, Kell Brook's put in the hard work himself, but Eddie Hearn gave him the opportunities, Now, Kell Brook pointed out the fact that I got him out of jail in the Golovkin fight. And he did. Eubank pulled out, and Kell Brook put his hand up and said, I'll fight him. You did get Eddie Hearn out of jail. And Eddie Hearn did use you for that fight. But that ruined your career. That fight potentially stopped you becoming a unified welterweight champion. And that's the issue. That's the issue I have. That fight, for me, she should never have taken it. And if Carl Froch hit the nail on the head when he said, sometimes things can be beaten out of you. And he feels the Golovkin fight beat something out of Kell Brook. Something left Kell Brook that night when he fought Golovkin. And I think Carl Froch hit the nail on the head. Something did leave Kell Brook that night. So about the Eddie Hearn issue, for me, I felt the passion in Kell Brook's voice. And I felt like he feels let down by Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn. And to be honest, I said that fighters should be selfish. They shouldn't care about a promoter, because this is all business. Kell said, I thought Eddie was my boy. But when it doesn't make business sense, listen, if it didn't make business sense with Joshua, he may not do it. And look how much money Joshua's made Eddie. Right? Kell Brook's not made anywhere near the money. He's not nowhere near the star that Joshua is. So Kell Brook, like I said, when he beat Sean Porter and won the world title, he should have gone to Al Heyman. That's what I think he should have done. I think he should have gone to Al Heyman. Al Heyman had opportunities at that point, and I believe Al Heyman would have got Kell Brook, made Kell Brook a lot more money, and would have got Kell Brook more world level fights, which Eddie Hearn wasn't able to secure for him, really. And the ones that he did secure, one was at middleweight against a middleweight monster that Kell Brook had no chance in winning. And then the next one was a mandatory, so it was more forced. And Eddie Hearn didn't even want Kell Brook to take that fight. So what world level fights did Eddie Hearn deliver Kell Brook? He delivered Gennady Golovkin and Sean Porter. And obviously Spence was a mandatory. Yes, Eddie Hearn promoted a big event and he managed to get a lot of people to come and watch it and stuff. But that's not really the fight they wanted. They wanted a big mega fight with a Cotto or a Khan or a Thurman and a top welterweight. They didn't want to fight an unknown, not unknown, but unknown hot prospect who's a killer at the weight. They didn't want to fight Errol Spence because they knew that the fight wasn't that big and Errol Spence was dangerous. Right? So really the fights that really Eddie Hearn's delivered at world level are two, Golovkin and Porter. And Porter's the only real legitimate one in the sense that Eddie Hearn managed to finally get Kell Brook a shot, and that didn't come easy either. But the Golovkin and Spence one was like, Golovkin was one like Brook got Eddie out of jail, right? And the Spence one was a mandatory, so it was kind of forced onto them. And Kell Brook kind of said, I'm not vacating the belt. But Eddie didn't want him to take that fight. So even if you want to give him the benefit of doubt, he's 3 in a span of how many years with Eddie Hearn? 3 world level fights in a span of how many years? Now, I'm not saying that's Eddie Hearn's fault, because I think some of it must be Kell Brook's fault. The fact that he's probably been ill-disciplined, he got stabbed and stuff. So it's not all Eddie Hearn's fault. But the management or whoever was behind Kell Brook didn't do the greatest job because he didn't manage to get the big fights. This is Kell Brook's 4th world level fight in how many years of boxing? What, over a decade? Not good enough, really, for a top level boxer. It's not good enough. And I just think the management really let Kell Brook down, if I'm honest with you. And again, I feel like when it comes to Eddie Hearn and Sky Sports, Kell Brook was like that Eddie Hearn's just bothered about earning a few buck. He doesn't care about the fight. Basically, that's what he was alluding to. And that's true. What was Kell Brook thinking that Eddie Hearn cares? Like maybe Kell Brook's naive and he actually thought that Eddie Hearn probably does care for him, but only when it makes business sense for his business. He's not gonna take a loss for you. Do you know what I mean? And no businessman would. No businessman would take a loss. Now they're putting on 3 pay-per-views, right? Whether you think Brook Crawford's a better fight, right, is irrelevant. The fact is, those fights do bigger numbers than Crawford Brook. So, from a business point of view, Eddie Hearn's looking at it from a business point of view, and from a business point of view, Eddie Hearn's right. Those fights do bigger numbers. Your fight doesn't do as big numbers as those fights. So I only have a certain budget. I can't do your fight. You know, and it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. Brook Crawford is not a big fight 4 a.m. in the morning, numbers-wise. Right? To hardcore fans, yeah, we want to see it. But actually, it's worked out better for us because now we're going to get it for 10 quid rather than 15, 20 quid. Right? So it's worked out better for fans because it's not like we can't see it. We're going to see it for $9.99 on Fight TV, I believe. So, to me, I'm not... Like, obviously, I just want to see the fight. Obviously, Fight TV, we don't know what the commentators are going to be like. We don't know, we don't know what they're going to be like. But at the end of the day, at least we were going to get to see the fight here in the UK. But it would have been good on Sky Sports, but it just doesn't make business sense for them. They don't want to air a fight that they don't think is going to make business sense when they've got 3 other pay-per-views that they think is going to do way bigger numbers. And I understand what Kell Brook just feels gutted and he feels let down that, he's been on the journey with Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn all from day dot and they're not backing him. But again, this is a business, and this is why I'm saying that every fighter needs to be selfish and every fighter needs to think about themselves. They need to, rather than thinking, oh, he's my boy, I'm getting him out of jail. Now, obviously, Eddie Hearn, Kell Brook said, I got him out of jail, but you earned a few quid as well. You know, it's not like Kell Brook didn't make good money in that fight. He made a lot of money. You know, he made his highest payday. So Eddie Hearn gave him a very good payday in that fight as well. So, you know, you can look at it from both sides. I think there's mistakes on both sides. You know, I think Kell Brook should have not ever taken that fight. I think he should have just said, okay, I'll pass. I don't want that fight. You know, I'll fight Vargas for less money. It doesn't matter. Because if he had beat Vargas, become a unified champion for Errol Spence, who knows? He may have beaten Errol Spence because something may have not been beaten out of him, like Carl Froch said. Carl Froch is a fighter. He's been in the ring. When he says something like that, you know, at times when you go into a fight, sometimes certain things can be beat out of you. And he feels that something was beaten out of Kell Brook when he fought Golovkin, and he's probably right. He's probably right. I feel for Kell. Kell Brook said, I'm confident, I'm going in there, I'm 100%, I'm going to beat Terence Crawford. He's supposed to say that, though. You know, he's supposed to say that I'm going to beat Kell Brook. And I genuinely hope, with all the things that happened to Kell Brook's career and everything that's gone off on him, I hope he goes and does it and does the job. I genuinely hope he goes there and beats Crawford. Because he's been let down by a lot of people. He's been let down by a lot of people. And I feel for him. I feel for him. I feel for him. I feel that he's been treated horribly. But, you know, he's got himself a decent payday. You know, I know he says that, oh, I'm not getting paid. It's still a decent payday. You know, it's a lot more than you would get paid fighting anybody else. So when he says that it's not decent, it's not about the money, everyone's taking a pay cut. Well, you are getting paid a lot more than you'll get paid fighting anybody else. So it is, for me, it's a good payday. But let's come to the fight. Listen, I hope he goes there and does it. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to totally write him off and say he's got a 0 chance, because everybody has a chance in a fight. But it's a big ask. It's a big ask against a very slick, pound for pound, elite fighter like Crawford. If I'm honest with you, I think styles make fights, and I think this style that Crawford's style would have been a problem for prime Kell Brook. I think it would have been a horrible style. You know, a slick guy, a slick boxer. I've always said that Kell Brook against a slick boxer would struggle. Right? And I'm talking prime Kell Brook. Now he's up. Now, I had some of Kell Brook's fans said to me that, what are you talking about? Kell Brook's a slick boxer himself. He's not a slick boxer. Kell Brook's a powerful guy. He's a powerful guy and likes to have a fight. He puts his punches together very well. He punches. He's got a good power. He's not a slick boxer, though. He's not a slick boxer. Kell Brook's not a slick boxer. He can box, but he's not a slick boxer. A slick boxer is Crawford, Lara, guys like that. That's what a slick boxer is. You know? Kell Brook's not that. Kell Brook's a guy that he was very successful at 147 because he was a big, strong guy. He was bigger than most of the guys at the weight. But as soon as he came up against another big welterweight in Errol Spence, he got beat. You know, another big, strong welterweight. It didn't work because whatever Kell Brook tried to do against Errol Spence, it wasn't working because Errol Spence could absorb Kell Brook's power and Errol Spence would come back. He was just as big, just as strong, just as durable, and probably even bigger than Kell Brook. So he wore Kell Brook down in that fight. And so, again, this is not a big welterweight. Crawford's not a big welterweight. But the problem is Crawford's a very slick guy. Crawford's a guy that hits you and then he's not there. Now, Crawford does get hit, and I do think his chin is... There's 50-50 about his chin, but I just think he's too slick and I think he's too good. I do hope Kell Brook goes there and does the job on him. But if I'm honest, I think Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world. I think when I say best fighter, I think he's number 2 now. I think Canelo's number 1. But yeah, I hope Kell Brook all the best, but you know, and he's confident that he's going to go over there and win. Are you guys confident that he's going to go over and win? I'm not. Like I said, I'll probably give him a 15% chance, maybe 10%. But let's hope he can go in there and do the job. As a British fight fans, let's hope he can go and do the job. Guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.